everyone, this is Juli Clifford. I'm a residential real estate consultant with Compass, and today is another episode of Juli's Community Spotlight. And I am sitting here in a beautiful office in Fairfax. I am going to be talking to Graham Pruitt, who is with Intercoastal Mortgage. And Graham is one of my go-to guys for lending, and the reason I'm talking to him today is because I just came to one of Graham's presentations, and I thought, wow, this is really great information that I think a lot of people out there in real estate land, and especially buyers, need to know about. So I'm going to let Graham take it away. And so Graham, let's try and dispel some myths and some rumors and things, and let's try and get people more comfortable with stepping in to buy a home.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So one of the main things we talked about today was that, real estate is really about building wealth, generating wealth. It is, I think half of most people's assets are in their homes. So one of the biggest questions that people have right now, or things that people are wrestling with, kitchen table type stuff, is now a good time to buy a home, right? Interest rates obviously are higher than what they were in the past 2 years. Feels like home prices have gone up and they haven't come back down. Obviously we're talking about the recession and everything. So we just talked about a lot of statistics that I think dispel a lot of those worries that people have, right? So what was one of them? So we talked about, what do interest rates do in recessions going back 30, 40 years?
Okay.
And I think one of the charts that we showed, and maybe she can upload it or include it, is that every time we've had a recession, interest rates come in at a higher point, and they exit at the end of the recession at a lower point. Right? And
is that kind of what the Fed is trying to do? Because sometimes I don't understand what, what Fed, what are you doing?
Right.
So is that like what they're trying to do?
What they're trying to do is they're trying to get that inflation back down. And they do that by raising the interest rates, which slows the economy and then kind of makes it so that the inflation comes back down. So that's the whole point of what the Fed's doing when they're raising those interest rates. And so every time over the history of you've seen the Fed raise those rates, it's put us into a recession. 30-year rates are high because what happens is fixed rates on the 30-year mortgage are tied to inflation. So if 30-year fixed rates is a boat and inflation is the water, they rise and fall with each other.
Okay.
So
I like that analogy.
It's good. It's good visual.
Yeah.
So when the Fed raises rates, they're raising rates on the credit cards, they're raising rates on boat loans, business loans, home equity line of credit. It's not tied to the 30-year fixed rate. It's strictly inflation.
Okay. So if I'm a buyer today, why, from a lending standpoint, but also from a real estate standpoint, why am I going to jump into the market right now?
Well, we had a slide that talked about all the pros of purchasing a home right now versus all the cons. So there was a lot more pros than there were cons, because now you have a lot of people that are sitting on the sidelines that are waiting. Right. So you're getting a lot more, there's a lot of things inside of the contract that we're actually including now that we didn't include before. Right? So you've got home inspection, appraisal contingency. Right. Even sometimes if a home's listed at $500,000, people are coming in at $475, so you can negotiate on price. Right. So there's a lot of pros right now. You can get concessions to pay to buy down the interest rate. I mean, the list goes on. And then the cons right now is rates are high. So rates are high, and then you've got all these other options above that are working in your favor right now to buy a home. Okay. So if you buy a home right now, and let's say you're paying a higher interest rate, we all know that that's going to happen. Yes. But you also have maybe some built-in things that can help you. Like he said, we can negotiate home inspections, which we couldn't really do. You may be the only person bidding on a home, where before, I remember one instance we had, I called up the agent to put an offer in, and he said, we have 42 offers. So, and this was a $500,000 home, which is where we are, is the average, kind of the average home price. So you are so competitive right now, because sometimes you don't have any competition. So that's wonderful. Yep. Okay, so if I buy a house today and I'm paying like maybe 7%,
what does that look like for me in the future? Do you think that interest rates are going to come down enough that it's going to maybe make sense for me to think about refinancing in a couple of years? Do you see that coming?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing right now. So every home that I've ever bought, I bought with a higher interest rate and then refinanced into a lower interest rate. So it's pretty normal. I mean, obviously the markets they go up and down, they cycle. So you're either going to catch it on an upslope with the rates going up, or you're going to catch it on a downslope. Right now, we're just catching it on the upslope. And like the statistics say, every recession that we've had, the rates come down by the very end of it. So certainly, I mean, you can go look at the Fannie Mae's forecast for what interest rates are going to be, the Mortgage Bankers Association. 2023, 2024, they're all predicted to be down into the 5s or 4s. So, you know, depends on the price of the house, but you're looking at saving anywhere from $400 to $800 a month in payment once you refinance back down into a lower interest rate.
Gotcha. So, is now a good time to buy a house? I say whenever you're ready is a good time to buy a house. If you think that you're going to wait and interest rates are going to come back down to like the 2.5 and the 3s.
Right, but one other thing is that, you know, if you look back, a lot of people think of 2008 and the values going down. Well, back then we had, I think it was something like 4 million homes on the market. And now we have less than 500,000 homes on the market.
That's
somewhere
crazy.
Around that number.
That's crazy.
So what that means is just simple economics. You've got a high demand of people that still want to buy, and you just don't have a lot of supply. So what that means is these prices, if you buy now, you're locking in a price, and it's just going to go up in the future. Because the demand for housing
you mean the value.
The value, because the demand for housing is not going anywhere. People have good jobs in this area. The federal government's here. They're not really building anything that's, you know, enough homes to really fill that void. So once rate, and the other reason why buying now might be a good idea, because if rates do come down in a year or next year, you're going to be back into another buying frenzy. So you're back into the situation where you're not getting any concessions.
Yeah, and that is...
It's scary.
It's a crazy rodeo. It really is.
I thought about buying a house during the last year or two, and I said, you know, I don't want to. I put an offer on a house in the neighborhood that I grew up in to live closer to my parents for my kids. And we lost, thank goodness. And because I think a lot of people that bought in the last 2 years have got buyer's remorse because they probably paid too much. They waived all their contingencies and inspections. So now you actually have a little bit of time to think about it. And you might get something that, you know, you might not have gotten in the last 2 years.
Right.
So.
And another thing, you know, this is November. This is historically, it's a very kind of slow time for real estate. So anybody that puts their home on the market is probably maybe kind of desperate to sell their home by the end of the year because maybe they need it for tax purposes.
Sellers are looking to make a deal. Quick.
So is now a good time to buy a house? I totally think so. And here's another thing. If this is your first purchase, just think of it this way. This is not your dream home. This is not your dream home. Most likely you're going to be purchasing something that, you know, you've been renting for a while. And in the market we're in, I know rents are crazy high. Rents are about the same as a mortgage payment. But think of it this way. If you're paying $2,500 a month for rent, and you wait a couple years to buy something, you are basically throwing that money away because you're not building anything. We call it equity, which means that is the way you're going to buy your dream home, because once you buy your first home, you're going to be building equity because the home you buy today is probably going to be worth more in the future. So you build that equity, and that's how you're going to get to your dream home.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a nerdier way to put it would be, you know, the opportunity cost. If you don't buy now, the opportunity cost is you're going to lose out on appreciation, you're going to lose out on the interest deduction that you get from the IRS, and you're going to lose out on principal reduction, meaning once you lock in that loan, every single month you're paying money to basically lower the balance on that mortgage. So, you know, if you continue to rent, you're really missing out on that, on all those opportunities right there.
Right. So, and you're also missing out on the opportunity to paint your bedroom purple.
And to work with us.
So, Graham, again, this has been a really great conversation, and I hope it has made the people out there in TV land feel a little bit more comfortable about maybe jumping into the home buying market.
Right.
If you would like to learn more about what's going on in the mortgage market, or just you know, contact Graham to have a conversation, or maybe you want to, you know, put in an application.
Yep.
Graham, how can people reach you?
I'm sure my information will be somewhere on this video, but 703-501-1777 is my cell phone, and then you can find me online. Just Google Graham Pruitt, Fairfax Mortgage Loan Officer, and you'll find me.
Great. And again, this has been another episode of Julie's Community Spotlight, and I'm Juli Clifford. I'm a residential real estate consultant with Compass. And if there's anything I can do, and maybe you've seen this and now you think, I just need to go talk to a buyer's agent. That's me. And I'd love to sit down and spend maybe 20 minutes with you and just go through the home buying process with you. It's absolutely no pressure, but at least you'll get a feel for the next steps. And we'll put you in touch with Graham, and we can kind of go from there. So, again, Graham Pruitt with Intercoastal Mortgage and Juli Clifford with Compass. And thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, guys. Bye.